Every 30th of May, every year, forever and ever, we shall remember them, bear children. That is to tell you that Biafra is unstoppable. Nobody can stop it. That is why we salute this very class of 67 to 1970. I call them the immortals because every 30th of May, every year, forever and ever, we shall remember them and we shall honor them.
Free Biafra now. Free Biafra. Free Biafra now. Free Biafra.
First of all, Nigeria is not my country. I was born a Biafran. My birth certificate reads Biafra, and no one has ever changed that. The fact that I was at some point or the other in possession of a Nigerian passport does not actually confer upon me their citizenship. I saw the Nigerian passport as a mere travel document because my birth certificate issued at the time of my birth reads Biafra. Nobody of a sane mind will condone or accept what is happening in Nigeria. I believe that genuine attempts have been made in the past to try to remedy the wreck that Nigeria is today, but there was a palpable unwillingness on the part of the powers that be to do something about it. I detest suffering and pain. I hate to see people suffer. I hate to see people in pain. The only thing that propels me, the only thing that drives me towards this very agitation is not born out of hatred for anybody, but a desire to test freedom in our time.
Free Biafra now. Free Biafra. Free Biafra now. Free Biafra.
So yes. Okwu-Kanu is my married name.
Yes.
Okwu-Kanu is my father-in-law's name is Oku. Oku means words, to speak.
Yes.
And Kanu means is a deity in Igbo culture, in Igbo spirituality. So Kamanos, that's the god of thunder.
Yes.
So yes. So you see my husband thundering. It comes from his name.
Most certainly he does. And I'm aware, though, that another woman, if you don't mind if I could draw a parallel, during the years when Nelson Mandela was imprisoned by the apartheid regime, Winnie Mandela became the public voice of defiance at home. In one of the most widely cited statements from that period, she declared, "I am not a heroine. I am the product of the masses of my people, of my country, and the product of my enemy." Do these words resonate with you?
Oh yes, absolutely. It does.
Mm-hmm.
Even though there is some sort of disparity between us, I'm sure you may have picked up some disparities because appetite, yes, within the sector, within the systems, just wanting a better treatment by. But ours is being the fact that we are a certain kind of people, and we're not speaking to be just treated better in Nigeria. That has been asked, that has been requested, but since that is not happening, we are now saying, as a certain kind of people, we want to be in our own ecosystem where we can decide what happens to us, and not where someone in the same system with us thinks us a lesser human, a lesser citizen, where you treat us, marginalize us, and kill us, and nothing happens, and nobody says anything about it. So it's actually, so there's this disparity. So Winnie's words resonate with me so much. She's also she's a role model there. She's my role model, one of my role models. I have loads of them. It resonates with me on a very on a profound level, I must say. These words capture the dual forces that shape anyone who finds themselves inside a struggle, rather than observing from the outside. When you're in the box, you understand the diameters and everything, but and the depth and how you feel in the box. But someone looking at it from the outside would just see a box and would not know how you are struggling to breathe, or sit up or stand up, or how the box is for you. So, but I've never viewed myself as a hero, as she said. I am, before anything else, a daughter of Biafra,
Indeed.
shaped by the collective memory, suffering, and resilience, an unbroken hope of our people, of my people. Whatever strength I carry is drawn from them. The fact that I am still sane today is a strength that I see them show out there. They show so much strength, and I go, yes, I am not alone here. There are people who are also cold, and my strength, I draw it from them. They are yearning for dignity. They yearn for freedom.
Yes.
Created that yearning created the movement. If not that there are yearnings for these, the movement would not have been created. I mean, everyone would just be moving on, and this individuation where you just focus on self and just you and your family, and no one actually cares about the next person. So that is where this movement was shaped from, long before any individual stepped forward. Long before my husband. Simply one thread in that larger fabric. But I am also undeniably a product of the forces that oppose us. Just as I mentioned earlier, the killings, the state's repression. It is there. I mean, it's undeniable. It's right there. It glares one in their face. The unlawful detention of my husband, the illegal conviction, using a wrong law to convict him, and having to maneuver processes to get to that very point. The intimidation of peaceful citizens, of our people, the silencing of voice, the massacring of our people, the killing of our people, killing of Christians, and then there's this media blackout. There's constant oppression that is right. This is there. You can feel it. These experiences have carved themselves into me. I bear this pain and this burden that I wish that some certain people understand, to fuse together, knowing that unity is strength. And that is one thing that I'm also a Pan-Africanist. I love my people. That unity is one tool that we need, is the number one tool. And then the sub tools would be the unity of purpose.
Yes.
And that's where we can go forward. So this sharpened my understanding of what we are up against, and clarified why retreat is not an option, as she said. In a way, the enemy shapes in life, challenges can be an enemy, can be just situations. Regardless what we think of, how we see it, it shapes subconsciously, unconsciously, or consciously. It shapes us as much as it shapes our community. because we get shaped and then we bring it out in the paradigm. We reflect that, we project that into the system and the community. So if someone from external point comes in, they can feel that. So it's this way and that way in terms of what we give to system.
Can I just ask a question? Is this a follow-up question? And because I know you wouldn't say, but I want to just get some, just to help us here at this point. 'Cause this is an interesting point where we just better understand the product of my enemy, part of that statement by Winnie Mandela. Okay, it's identifying the enemy. I've had time to study. Okay, and I do for my podcast, this channel. I've had to study incredible amounts, and it's possible that I study from a completely different perspective to those on the ground. Okay, so these questions that I describing to you may appear to be strange and odd or straightforward or indeed quite obvious. Who is the enemy here? Is it a yes, see? There you go. Is it another religious group? Is it another ethnic group? Is it another political party? Is it the latter day colonialists? Or is it a superpower extending their empire, wanting to influence and access natural resources? Who is the enemy?
Interesting. The enemy here in this context, the enemy is latter day colonization, superpowers, powers that be, probably not calling any name here,
No.
but we have this constant. There are loads of illegal mining in Nigeria.
Yes.
I'll deviate a little bit. I read something on social media. Someone was saying, "Oh, Trump wants to fight the terrorists in Nigeria because he wants their oil." But then the question is, the oil that you have in Nigeria, give me one student or one pupil. Give me one nursery school that at least the pupils, the babies in that nursery attend there for free.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Just name one. Just name one. Just give me a name of a school that is operational, that the kids there, the students there attend school for free and teachers' remuneration are disbursed end of the month. None whatsoever. So this oil you're talking about, where does it go? Who does it go to? So in this context, the enemies are by and large external and internal. You have the supernatural and the superpowers, the neocolonialists. You have the internal enemies. You have politicians. You have people who politicians are using to work within the state, who are unconscious, who are all individuated. It's all about themselves and not communal. So the people are also enemies of themselves. So the enemies are lots of enemies.
Okay.
I hope that answers the question.
No, it's okay. It's okay because it's a perspective. See, and of
Mhm.
course, the only other group I have not mentioned who are very important, and that's of course the multinational corporations. Okay, okay. We can talk about the nation state, but multinational corporation, particularly in the case of US, it's multinational corporations that determine politics in the United States of America. Okay.
Yes.
You see, I'm very mindful of this because very recently, the 47 presidents of the United States, who's in power right now, conducted another illegal abduction in Venezuela. Not dissimilar to what the Nigerian government did in Kenya.
That is
Um,
similar.
very exactly the same. Okay. And as a result, I had to call into question the raid, so-called military operations in Nigeria by the 47 presidents on behalf of a particular community, and note that much of the military assets actually did not impact the community that matters here. Okay. So I'm bound to ask a question of yourself, because it's one I've asked others as well. Is the enemy, particularly in the case of Biafra, okay, is the enemy the multinational corporation, latter-day colonists, or is it the religious groups who have been funded by external people to disrupt Nigeria, so you cannot grow, you cannot find your own local solutions? Okay. I definitely need to probe you a little further, because you are a
Mhm.
woman and
Yes.
you take it from a different perspective to us men very often. Please.
Yes. You are, I mean, all three you mentioned
Mhm,
are correct. You have the multinational
mhm,
powerhouses. I
mhm.
mean, let's call it a name, but Shell BP.
Okay. I wasn't going to, but fair enough. Yes.
Yeah, I have to call a name. At least it
Yes.
would make some sort of sense.
Mhm.
So
Yes.
they are
Okay.
there. They have processes.
Yes.
They have if you if you go in, like, the corporate social responsibility of
Yes.
companies.
Mhm.
I don't see Shell BP. They are situated in. I mean, they have their blocks in the rivers area of Nigeria, the Delta, what they call the Delta, uh, where they operate. You have multinational powerhouses doing what is it called, lifting gold in the northern part.
They are.
And now
Yes.
you have the, let's call the radicalization, or the radical Islamization,
Mhm.
radical Islamists
Yes.
who see another person as an infidel, whose goal is to kill that infidel, to either let you convert, allow you to convert, or exterminate you. We have that is enemy. So it is something that is inherent, and we can't continue to look the other way, because
Agreed.
I
Agreed.
promise you that is one of the issues in Nigeria. See
Mhm.
Nigeria as They see Nigeria as a Muslim, or a Muslim state, a Muslim country, and that they
Forgive me for
own
forgive me for
Nigeria.
interrupting. Forgive me for interrupting.
Mhm,
Again, part of the research I've gone into, what I note is that many of these Islamist groups, radical Islamist groups, the majority of people who are attacked and subdued by them are their own
mhm,
fellow Muslims, in particularly the North Hausa people in the north of the country. Okay. And yes,
mhm,
most certainly they intrude in southeast Biafra, most certainly. But that appears to be where the majority of people are suffering, fellow Muslims who are not radicalized, and they're seeking to radicalize them. And there's clearly resistance, which is why I have reason to pause and listen carefully to what's been described. But it does appear, based on the evidence that I've researched, and from 4 or 5 different sources which corroborate this, that the majority population that are suffering as a result of the Islamist intrusion into Nigeria are Muslims, Nigerian Muslims. Okay? I've referred to them being Nigerian Muslim, or Hausa in particular, Hausa people who are particularly affected. Would that be a fair analysis of the evidence base at the moment, or would you say that actually they're targeting Biafra specifically?
um to be honest, yes, they're targeting the Biafran territories.
Okay.
But if you see, the migration comes all the way from the north, and then encroaching into Enugu, because
Yes.
that's
Yes. That's
the
right.
closest, and from Enugu spreading into Ebonyi and the rest of them.
Hmm.
So it's not
Hmm.
really a fair analysis to say it's targeted at Muslims. They're going
Okay.
to churches. So the data is how it became. a Christian genocide is by
Mhm.
data analysis, where they go into churches to slaughter Christians in
They do.
church.
They do, yes.
So by that, it was tagged a Christian genocide because there was constant massacring of Christians whilst they pray. It was only recently that they decided to go to the mosque to burn a few things, but the targets are on Christians. Yeah. And Muslims, I'm not saying that Muslims have not been killed, but you have more deaths on Christians than you have. That's by data and by evidence of the concept of the news and people migrating, relocating, leaving their homes and running away and migrating all the way down to you may have heard Riley Moore
Yes.
when he visited the IDP camp in Nigeria. There were 600,000 people in the IDP camp. So, and you also have the domination of the houses by the Fulanis, where their voices are no longer represented in leadership, and you have
They are.
Fulani dominance in the traditional rulership and
Yes.
political influence
Yes.
of Fulani Emirates structure. You have the
Right.
Sokoto Caliphate, and so
You
yeah.
see, you're making all the right points here, and that is interesting. It's interesting to look at some of the data, and it does give you interesting, slightly, if I may, and I'm just going to cross forward, but anyway, it's because it's interesting to note that when you look at it over a 10, 15-year period, it does appear that it's the Muslim communities in the north of the country that has suffered significant, horrific atrocities at the hands of these radicalized Islamists. There's no doubt about it. And they most certainly moved
Absolutely.
further south into Biafra land. There's no doubt
Yeah.
about that. And it's just important to put that on the record, just so it's understood, because this 47th president in the United States is only concerned with America first. All right, and,
Yes.
he is a criminal. Okay, and if he wasn't the president, he most probably would be near jail. Yeah, that's for sure. Okay, so I'm very wary of such personalities making pronouncements suddenly discovering he wants to support Christians. You know, what can I say? What would you say?
That comes from the diaspora campaign, because
Yes.
the constant killing of a people and the constant gathering of data, how these things are done, how you can actually arrive at a certain conclusion or inference should be based by live data. So
Yes.
we have our people in the US who have constantly issued and provided data and reports of massacring of our people. You have media blackouts that actually
Yes.
seals these things off and remove them from the they don't some of them don't report it, and there's constant suppression of these reports, and this constant manipulation of data. It's amazing how
Yes.
humans cannot face evil but try to tweak things to suit their narratives. President Trump have written him a letter to say this is what is happening, and I know that governments don't just pick up letters and just answer to you. You have to go through lobbying and so, and Trump is a self-preservation um student, is a self-preserver, so it preserves, and which is what every human should do: preserving your own, preserving your place, preserving your territory, and doing whatever necessary that is required to protect your people and to see to their progress, economically, security wise, and the rest of it. So
Maybe this part of the question, maybe for another time, could be useful for us to have that further
yeah.
dialogue. I think it'd be very
Mm.
helpful, very helpful. But I'm going to say this: I've identified one of the greatest strengths of the indigenous people Biafra, IPOB, as its ability to mobilize the mass identity into sustained political consciousness across the Igbo homeland and the global diaspora. How crucial is the involvement of women and girls in ensuring that the IPOB's purpose is realized? And we're going to hang on to
Interesting.
every word you utter here. They're here listening to you in the background. We're going to hang on to every word. I don't mind telling you, because you're the raised consciousness, so you understand why this question is so profoundly important to us all.
Very profound, yes. Very profound. Thank you very much. Excuse me. Women and girls are very, of course, absolutely vital to not just IPB mission, to in every system. Women sustain families. As you mentioned, the beginning of this, you talked about the importance of women and how they need to be listened to.
Yes.
Which I must be as truthful and honest as possible. I'm a consciousness coach, so where there is a gap in the involvement of women, there is always a gap. You can there are so I'll come to that as I tell this. Women sustain families and preserve culture. Mm, You do have men go out and fend for the day, as had been back in the days, except now that things have changed. Well, women are involved in breadwinning, getting things done in the house and supporting the man. Well, their involvement ensures that the women's involvement in IPOB would ensure a holistic, inclusive, and grounded um, lived realities of our people. So because women's leadership and participation amplify the movement,
Yes.
the movement's moral legitimacy and resilience. The involvement of women, very importantly, is not just because it is about realization of IPOB's purpose and its existential. In any struggle, if they claim or speak for a people, or in any system or society, if they claim to speak for their people, but sidelines half of that people, then it's already compromised at its core. So IPOB's strength lies in transforming Igbo identity into sustained political consciousness, as you put it. I don't just see it as how there must be the realization of Biafra today, right now. So that's where the political consciousness, comes in. Women are both carriers and multipliers, which everybody knows. Everybody talks about how women are multipliers of know, everything that you bring. So, in that consciousness, within families, communities, and across borders, women are multipliers and carriers of identities and purpose as well. Um, Women have always been the first political educators, even when they are not called that. In our homes, it is often mothers, aunties, and grandmothers who transmit language, stories, values, and the emotional memory. The man, as the leader of the house, would set up this rule, and when he goes to work, when he goes away, the woman makes sure that that is what is happening. But so if you go away and the woman is not doing that, that wouldn't happen. You find the children growing without that core value that you seem to have mirrored across. So before a child hears any word Biafra in a rally or on the radio, they have already absorbed the sense of who they are or who they are, what is acceptable and what is intolerable from the women who raised them. So the first time I heard about Biafra was my mom. She told me how they were. Her father was, on the side of affluence, so they were having special deliveries of things and and all that. But she did tell me how it became worse, and they had to move into the bush, and they had to kill lizards. They had to use lizards as meat, as meat. And so my father didn't. My father grew up in I think Equatorial Guinea, Ivory Coast. I think it's Ivory Coast. My dad grew up there, so he didn't know about the war. But my mom was the first person to have told me the story. And as I grew up, it wasn't taught in school, but we were taught about Usman Dan Fodio, the, the the
Oh,
Islamist who was busy. So you see that 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 molding of that narrative at the time that it starts to unfold, and then they took out history from the curriculum of students in Nigeria, which
yes,
is one
yes.
of the things that I and my team would have to move. And I run a charity, if I must put it here, and it's for basic education for children to be able to attain basic education, the hapless children who are not able to go to school. You have thousands of kids on the streets,
Yes.
and there are supposed to be free education, and there's nowhere to be found. And some of them are in love with education, but they can't attend, and
That's right.
it's this pain
So it is.
that we all have to bear. So we also would. I heard some time ago that they have included history in schools, but I don't think it's taught anyway. People are nothing without their history. You don't know where you're
Absolutely.
coming from, and you don't know where you're
Absolutely.
going to if you don't have
Absolutely.
history. If you don't know, you don't need to be an expert, but you should know um,
The
who you
history.
are, what have
Yes.
happened
Yes.
in the place where you're coming from, and that will help form who you will become and mold you in the future. So beyond the home, women and girls are crucial in sustaining the moral legitimacy of a movement.
Can I
A
just ask
struggle
you at
that
this
visibly
point?
includes
Mm.
women.
Can I just ask you this point?
Thinking,
Yeah, if I may, just ask you this point, and there may be some subtle differences here. Is it women? Let's say if focus on women, okay, uh, their role is to ensure the transmission of culture, heritage, understanding of our place in the world. Yeah,
Mhm,
obviously, you spend more time with the child at the crucial formative stage, primary
mhm,
stage. Okay,
mhm.
is that occurring within marriage, or within the village, or an individual operating but conscious of her heritage? Which is the unit in which it is happening in? Is it in marriage? Is it happening within a village context, or is it an individual woman who just happens to be conscious enough to be able to teach that child? Which is the format in which it is happening? Mhm.
It happens. It happens from the family unit.
Okay.
So
Is that
by
a man and a
nature,
woman, working together, or is it or is
man
it
and
a
woman, a
okay?
a man and woman working
Mhm.
together, but
Mm.
the
Okay.
woman, because regardless how the woman goes out to fend, because in
Hmm.
a unit, in a system,
Hmm.
that is how we came into this world, to say that the man goes out to to provide for the family while the woman sits in the house. So when when the men go to war, go to fight, go to
Hmm.
detained,
Mm.
exiled, and the rest of
Mm.
them, the women are the custodians
Yes. Okay.
of that very unit. They go on to imbibe the culture, the teachings, the values. So most times in family units, the mother and the father are working together, but it's probably about 5% of the men spending more time with the children. The rest of the percentage is the women spending that time with the children. So the
Yes.
women mold has a higher access to molding their children. You know, I've seen loads of families where the children
You're
tilts to the
right.
mother's values, not the father's.
Right. No,
And then
you are right. I'm probing this just for, and it's helping others to better understand that the family unit is where a man and woman come together in order to maintain the unit, or is the family unit one where a woman is operating within a much broader village context, as it were, and you may have relatives and others around you. Take the village to raise a child, as it were, or is it
Mhm.
a woman who may live in London, let's say, but it may have some consciousness, but is trying her best. Which is the optimum configuration to ensure that culture, heritage, pride, and strength is being transmitted to the next generation?
It is the woman, unfortunately. I mean, you may not like this, but
It's okay.
in the unit, it is the two parent, the man and the woman. That is, these are the two people that create what the next generations is. But who
Mm-hmm.
actually holds it? Who is the bedrock? Who is the lamp holder
Mm-hmm.
of that? It is the woman.
Mm-hmm.
So even in diaspora, the role of women and girls have become even more pronounced, where they're the ones who navigate institutions, advocate in professional spaces, build alliance, and then translate struggles into languages and frameworks
Mm-hmm.
globally for the global audience to understand. Um, to answer your question, it is the woman, because if it's more than 50%, it is a woman, because it is more than 50% in the family unit. So
Mm-hmm.
from the family unit, then it begins to go. But as you said, as you mentioned, it takes a village to train a child. I think the narrative is changing,
Okay.
with the um with the existence of computers, and you've moved from industrial age down to the computer age, and now we're coming
Yes.
into digital. So these things are somehow petering out. um Last time I went to the villages don't train children anymore. They just, everybody's minding their business. It's not as how it used to be. But these certain small cells in villages, small units,
Mm-hmm.
are still there, where the women would go and sit together to talk about their side of things in the village, in the
Mm-hmm.
community. And men, there's always this fraction, men here doing their stuff, women there doing their stuff. So if I give an example, back in the days, if the men go for a meeting and there is a new law, um the man goes home to tell the wife, and the wife now breaks it down to the children.
Mm-hmm.
You see,
Mm.
so it,
Yes.
it, it lies with the woman. It's very
Mm-hmm.
important. It lies with the woman, yes.
Absolutely, absolutely. These are further questions, which another occasion, if we can, we will just probe further, because it's a pretty fundamental to the unit that support a civilization. Okay? As you say, man and women working and have their respective roles. And where there is that balance, Manhattan balance, the roles are well defined, then it's likely then that the child will benefit from both the male and female influences. Okay, but to better understand the role of the unit, or indeed a marriage unit in this, is it possible, if people don't get married, for the transmission to be as powerful, as poignant, if they don't get married? 'Cause that's the current tendency at the moment, not to get
Mhm.
married and to live kind of looser arrangements. Okay, is that a sustainable environment? Because I notice it only appears to be in certain classes. The upper classes here in Britain, middle and upper class to Britain, marriage is still a thing, and very crucial. Yeah, it's the others who question the legitimacy of marriage, and question the challenges of marriages to sustain them for periods of time, and therefore are causing marriages to decline. And it's those children that I worry about. And it's just interesting to hear you, the mother of the people, how you speak on this matter. So it's interesting to hear you, but maybe another time. I just wanted to take take you to another question. Just on the same theme. Women of different faiths. I wondered if there's a forum for women to come together to discuss the future of the nation. I'm not going to use that name now, the nation. Or do women of different ethnic or indeed tribal heritages, if I use that term for the moment, okay, come together to promote peace in the nation? Are you a part of that?
Mm. Interesting question. Very interesting. Um, as you did say, I am not very often seen in the public. And that is due to the security
I understand.
issues
Yes.
that are connected to what my husband is at its forefront. But that is changing. When you have a little boy that is quite vast here, and you're having to deal with his academic issues and the way he pursues things and his emotional stability, because that kind of affected us for years.
Yes.
And going out there is something that you spend a lot of time, but there was this part that I needed to make sure that he did not miss, because it was affecting his emotional stability and in and social um, intelligence, which it's better now because he saw his dad last year, sorry, 2024, and that became healthy healthier than it was, because he just wouldn't listen to me. He thought his father had died and that I was lying to him. He was only 7. And
Oh,
so until he saw his father, then he believed that it was in the letter he wrote to Keir Starmer, who hasn't responded.
oh.
Um,
Mhm.
the yes, so there are interfaith forums and global peace forums that women um had set up in the past. Is still operational. They attend. I think there's one called Interfaith Dialogue Forum for Peace, and then there's Global Peace Foundation Nigeria. There's this women faith-based mediators network. There's this interfaith. So you have
Yes.
different women's interfaith council. I think that one is in
Yes.
Kaduna, or Interfaith Mediation Center, where they meet together. I think that's probably because of it thing going on in the north with
Mm.
the Muslims and the
Yes.
Christians. So
Yes.
there are several forums that like that, but I am not part of any. But what we're doing currently is something that I've set it up towards the ending of last year. And because I found the gap in speaking and doing. I found that most of the organizations are mostly for coming together for social gathering, and having conversations of things. We have people like Ohanes Ndibo, who's like an organization that should speak for Ndibo, but they don't actually say anything. So there's this um splurge worthy gatherings of people who, you come and you show off something and then you go home and issue press statements, and then that's it. But I am someone who, I believe in gap analysis, where when I say something, I want to see it done. Even in my days of
Absolutely.
careers, I, I, I don't attend meetings more than I didn't attend meetings thrice if there is no action taking. Coming to the meeting, and underscoring previous steps, gap analysis. Why didn't we achieve this? What next? And that's when you see me in the third meeting. If it's the same thing, I'm not attending the meeting. I don't do very well with, you know, not having actions. So what we're
Agreed.
doing currently is that we're trying to create a forum for women, not just. Another thing is that someone sees me and they go, "Oh, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu's wife." Like that's just not. mm, Maybe or perhaps the premise upon which IPOB is perceived is the reason, but we shouldn't be an enemy. We've had Catalonians, we've had Somalilanders recently. We
Yeah.
have Scotland. We have Scotland women coming here to speak and do things, and they still want to leave. So the fact
Mhm.
that we are talking about Biafra is not coming right now, but whilst we are waiting for it to come, we should do something in our system
Mhm.
where that is generational, where the next generation can benefit, and the imminent lives that we have that must benefit from whatever it is that we think we have seen and we want to make better. So this
Right.
current
Right.
women forum that I have taken upon myself to create and bring women, or of all ethnic culture,
Mhm.
tradition, whatever, even
Mhm.
British people, they can join if they want to. But
Right.
we will look at communities and map out what needs to be improved in that community. And then we'll move from there to there, from point A to B,
Mhm.
at least,
Mhm.
creating memories, doing something that people can benefit from.
Mhm.
There is
Mhm.
so much gap in these places,
Yes.
between these people and these people, and it's so wide that
Yes.
is a burden. So to answer your question, I'm not part of any of these, and I
Mhm.
will be um, writing to them to join in what we are looking to do. So it's not about Biafra, it's not about, but it's about the community that we
Mhm.
we are from. So yes.
Okay. Thank you. 'Cause I look forward to a day where I see a conference organised by women from the Hausaland, Fulani women, Yoruba women, all in the Adwa, all come into the same place, discuss the land. You know? As I
Yes.
say, strong-willed men tend to listen to their wives. Okay? But that's the only
Mhm.
secret I'm going to give to you. uh, and I suspect the
Yeah.
women have the solutions. You see, they have the solution. But can I just probe you a little further on this one, because it is interesting, and I acknowledge your description of your son and the psychological issues that rises there, and I acknowledge that it is inevitable.
Mm.
Okay, but of course that's true for all children from the country. Okay, have you been involved in work in supporting young people who have clearly been scarred by even the more recent experiences? Have you supported or been involved in organisations that are supporting them? Because they are, Africa and indeed Nigeria. The median age is what, 19, 21, something like that. I think it's incredibly low. So it's the children are our futures, and what we do to support them is critical. Have you been involved in supporting young people?
Yes. Um,
Mm,
in terms of education, yes.
mhm, mhm, mm,
What my charity looks at is children from nursery 1 to primary 6.
mhm, mhm,
Um, we talk about their environment by which they
mhm.
sit to study. Some of them
Yes.
sit on the floor. So what we do
Mhm,
is that we provide chairs for them, provide
mhm,
reading books for
mhm,
them, exercise books, because some don't go to school because they have to go hawk on the street in order to
mhm.
buy a pair of socks or
That's
a pair
right.
of shoes.
That's the
So
reality. Yes.
yes, so my charity provide these things for
Yes.
them. It's a fledgling charity, and
Oh,
it's
good.
something that I
Good.
have had to do from my purse, my
Mhm,
tiny, tiny purse since 2017.
mhm.
And it was only registered here in the UK in 2020 during COVID.
Right. Okay.
Um, so currently we do back to school. You have kids who can't go back to school because they don't have school bags. So we provide school bags, shoes, and I have also gone into supporting young kids here in the UK with ANIMA's affiliated school of mentoring, where I help children to believe in themselves, learn how to be resilient. It is very important. You have this tiny bit of spark where kids can easily be triggered by spoken words and things. So coaching them on how to understand the person speaking to them and how to hold space for whoever. So, but like I said, when I was little, I always share my chocolates with people. So whatever I see here, I want it at home. I want kids at home to to have it as well. So my charity runs book club as well, and the kids there are doing better. They've graded up, and so it's I have been involved in helping children understand who they are. I love that molding of children, start when they're young to that formative years. They begin to understand who they are, and that is where the strength comes from.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. And
Thank you.
I'm going to insert another quick question, a question that I should have asked earlier on. Your husband, the great man, Nnamdi Kanu, how is he? How is he? How is he bearing up on the current injustices that he's experiencing? How is he bearing up? Can you share with us?
Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, my husband, he's someone who, even if his heart is failing him, he will stand as straight as the Iroquois tree. He would still not grovel, because he knows that he is standing on his right. He's ever strong mentally.
Yes.
No matter, he has some health issues. He has potassium level alternation issues, which goes to the heart, and I think the last reports as well, that even though the DSS, they kept altering his health report, they kept altering it and messing up with this health report. There's a little bit of enlargement on the what is it, prostrate side of his body. Yeah, so sitting in one place, being confined, solitarily, and perhaps biologically, yeah, these things are happening, but in mind, he's not seconded. He is strong mentally.
Yes.
And he still believes in what he believes in.
Yes.
And he knows it's one thing for you to know your battle, and it is another for you to know your tools.
Yes.
More importantly, understand your enemy and understand the tools that the enemy is using.
That's right.
So if you understand the tools of your enemy, and you see that the tools, they appear to be strong, but they're not. But because your enemy has taken a higher position, say where you have a government, it seems like. But usually, I mean, I can't remember this story now of another war where I think during the Vikings times, and they had the higher ground, and then at some point the water will run, and then they will run out of water, and they will want to come down to get water. So at some point in time, which is another tool of a battle, time is also a tool. They will come down. They would. They will come down. So one of his tools is that mental strength to stand and hold forth until these people run out of water and come down to get their water. Do you understand my metaphor? I love to speak metaphor.
I do understand.
Nnamdi Kanu says,
this is what happens when you are strong. This is what happens when you are resolute. This is what happens when you listen to Radio Biafra. There is nothing we cannot do. Together as one Igwe. See, as that crowd came out in Igwe, they knew that these people, they meant business. that we meant everything that we said we're going to do. And you can see the result, can't you? That police officer dismissed. So next time, they will not shoot an unarmed person on the road. But if we behave the way we did in Aba, they will keep getting away with the killing of innocent people. And not under my watch.
Can I just say on this particular point and reason why it was a necessary question? Can we realise that, of course, this dialogue is about yourself, but most crucially, he represents the strengths of the Igbo people. You know, Biafra, a free Biafra. Okay, this is what we want. Okay, and of course, the state, as it is currently being influenced by others. Okay, is doing him a great injustice, and indeed, it is doing an injustice to the entire country. Okay, and therefore, the impact his incarceration is having both you and your family, I recognize. We recognize it, and we want to recognize it. We also recognize, of course, the impact it's having on all Igbos, both in the country and across the diaspora. Okay, we recognize this. I believe that we have the solutions to this, okay, and I believe women play a critical part to finding solutions to the future. I've alluded to the network of women and the influence you most certainly can have on the people. Okay? And it is clear, and we don't wish to cause you any distress, no distress, but recognize that we fully appreciate the sacrifices that you have made. You have made. Okay. I haven't read your biography on a few occasions now. Oh gosh, our heart are warm to you and open to you significantly, sir. Okay. But you've identified an important part of the process. It's enough to talk. Okay. I started off this interview by announcing the logo of this podcast, where we translate our words into action, because success is ours for the taking. Okay. You are a life coach. You understand the mentality, the winning mentality. Okay. What would be your closing message to the people? What would be your call to action of the people?
Thank you. My call to action has always been my call to action since my husband was taken 2022.
Yeah.
My husband was taken in 2021. I wasn't out there in the public. I think I was off Facebook for 5 years. I can live without social media. So when I came out in 2022, I tried to reiterate the importance of unity. Just as I mentioned earlier, there is unity, and then there's unity of purpose, because we can gather as one, but we'll have these disparities when it comes to the unity of purpose, where yours will be different from mine. And who we are as a person forms how we determine what we want, forms also our perspective, the lens through which we see matters. So for unity of purpose to be constant and successful, there must be that lens of communal goal, not individuation. People coming to a space and pushing their individuation into people's faces, but understanding that holding space for everyone is how the unity of purpose can sit, if you understand what I'm trying to say. So the unity of purpose, people coming to a place, for example, we are in IPOB and we say we are trying to get Biafra. Coming together is unity. But then the unity of purpose is, this is what we want to get, and this is the path through which we can get it. And you're okay with it. But then through that path, there are rules and regulations that can hold a place. Even here in the UK, without the laws, we're savages. You see people eating people on the street, but law and order holds a place. So that respect, so you come with that communal interest. I am here for this to happen. I am not here to be, ostentatious. I'm not here to show that I'm better than you, but I'm here for us to walk together regardless our struggles, our individual struggles. When we meet here, we meet for this purpose. Regardless how angry I am at you, we are here to achieve this.
That's right.
I recall somebody at my workplace who, before I became a planning manager, he screamed at me, and I'm like, excuse me, well, why are you doing that? And he was yelling, and I walked away. And later I called him and I said to him, this is a workplace. We are here to make products, to make sure that our customers get what they want. So whatever your problem is, when you walk through that gate, you throw it. I don't care. I don't want to know. I have problems, but you don't yell at me. And he started screaming again. Oh no, I'm telling you, don't you come and ask me questions. I said, I've emailed you several times and you didn't respond. So I had to come to you. I had to walk down to your department. Should have called me that respect. Because I didn't sit behind my desk waiting for your response. So next time, because you felt my presence was adding pressure to what you were doing, because had I remained behind my desk, you would not see my email, you would not respond. But seeing me there had pressured you more. You're going to have to leave what you're doing to respond to me. And in that manner, you kicked off, and that's wrong. So don't do that again. Yeah, so that is the purpose. We are there to create, history, to make history, to make things. So if you're angry at me or you don't like how I walk or how I'm sitting down, it shouldn't matter. You should disregard that, shut it off, and remain here in this centralized point where we have to walk forward. Because when you stop and feel, I don't like the way you're walking, two people may have thrown two steps forward and you and I are there arguing, and then if it's a war, during the fighting, the formation of the war, whatever you think can lower, the shield that you hold, when they fight in this during the Vikings, they have this formation, how you hold, and which was what made the Roman Empire very powerful. The Roman military, the Roman military formation. So you hold to a certain level. You don't lower. You sit there, regardless what is thrown at you. You don't fall. You don't lower your shield, because when you do, then the other person might be struck. You might be dead, or enemy will just swooping on you and take you all. So unity of purpose is very important. So coming together is that unity. Oh, we are here, we're united. But then unity of purpose, understanding it and holding on to it, is what makes a movement, or actually make people to become better, to create the memories and history and the picture that they want to create. So that is
If
my
I may
word
ask
to
you
our
at this,
people.
okay, and just to clarify that, and I hear you, but just to help and ensure that the broad selection of the audience fully appreciate what you described. Unity of purpose, okay, I understand the word, okay, but how is that being practically applied? And I'm thinking of the nation, okay, I won't call the name, I'll
Mhm.
think of the nation, and I'm thinking of the major uh, tribal or clans or ethnic groups of the nation, okay, what would be the purpose, or particularly women from those descriptions from across the nation coming together? What would be the purpose of them coming together? What would be their purpose coming together?
The purpose of coming together is, how we run our homes as women, and in our house we want a certain kind of house. I don't think anybody wants to live in a thatch house now. Everybody wants to live in in a beautiful, blockhouse with, like, if, for example, in Nigeria it's hot, you want to have AC, you're considering the sort of roof that you have in your, on your house. So a woman who wants, for example, here, when a family unit wants to buy a home, women always buy more, they buy more clothes than the men. They always do shopping every single time. A woman can decide to shop every week when she doesn't actually need those things, but because she just likes them. And men are just, specifics that. And then, so when it's time to buy a home, the woman cuts down. She just, she has to save some money for that house. So for the woman, we as a women, or as women, want a certain kind of society. I mean, we are all here in the UK. We love how the system is, how they protect women, how they protect children, how you pay for this, how you do this, how there is law and order. That is what we want. So if we have that unity of purpose, we want to set up the system here where we are from. Okay, because I know that even if you're born in the Queen Elizabeth's palace, Buckingham Palace, when you're filling out your form, there's a place that says white British, there's a place that says African Caribbean, Black British. So, however white you are, when you go there, you need to you tick, or you can say, some people say other, but whether you say other or not, you're classed. You are
Right.
not. Yeah, so you are not indigenous. You're not from here.
So what you want to achieve there then is like the unity of purpose is law and order in the nation.
Law and order,
In the nation.
respect, system,
Respect.
yes.
Mhm.
People, there must be a system that protects a child. In
Right.
Nigeria
Okay.
right now, anybody can die, nobody cares. Everybody's walking
Totally
straight
controlled.
and nobody
Right.
cares. You can hear
Yes.
about Chimamanda's son. She just lost her 21-year-old baby due
Yes.
to negligence. And
Right.
I think they are being sued now for that, for the negligence. But I kid you not, there is no law in
Yes.
Nigeria that's going to bring that doctor. You can hear that the doctor has traveled. That is
Okay.
how
Mhm.
flippant people are. That's how careless and nonchalant that people are. So the unity of purpose is to bring law and order,
Order.
to bring,
Hmm.
yes,
Protection of the
bring
children.
respect. If you
Respect.
are Yoruba, you see
Hmm.
me, you don't say, "Oh, Igbo." And when I ask you, what
Hmm.
does that mean? You don't even know. You just, it's a
Hmm.
narrative that you picked from
Yes.
somewhere. Or Igbo sees Yoruba and goes, "Oh, Yoruba."
Yes.
Is a transferred narrative that we shouldn't carry on. Like, the world has moved away from that. So the
Mhm.
unity of purpose is to respect each other into
Yes. Hmm.
whatever. If you're coming from Yoruba, you know that
Mm.
you're holding space for me and I am holding space for you. So
Right.
that is what it's about. And speaking true to the power and saying that,
Yes.
because people are maybe lackadaisical, they don't speak much. It's like every soul in Nigeria is conquered. Nobody speaks up and says, this school is dilapidated.
Hmm.
How can you fix there must be chairs. I had to deal with, not I didn't deal with it, but kids go to school, they sit with snakes and crabs in the classroom. How does that
Yes.
work? How does that, I
Yeah.
don't yeah. Kids go to school and they are reciting the national anthem in a pond, or
Mm.
puddle rather, where they're singing, and they could get infected from that. They could have
Yes. Yes.
this slug, I don't know what that is, and going into their skin and or leech. But
Hmm.
if women are after these things and push to the local government all the way to the governors, and people will become conscious. But because everybody is just struggling on their own, all every cell is individuated, and everybody
Hmm.
is just hustling
Yes.
to make sure that just them are eating. And once you're fine, you want to show off to the next person that you're doing better. That
Hmm.
needs to,
That needs to
be
change.
exterminated from
So
here.
I'm not going to just for the benefit of the audience. So the call to action, the unity of purpose, there must be law and order, protection of children. Okay, we must
And
ensure that
women, yes,
there's mutual respect amongst the people,
yes,
and in doing
yes,
so, we can create peace and prosperity for all. There you are.
absolutely. That's right.
Wonderful, wonderful. Wow, this has been a truly inspirational dialogue. Okay, you provided real insights into both the way in which you think about the issues that affect the nation and indeed the people of Biafra and Igbo people, both at home and abroad. And it helped us here in the diaspora, ancestral diaspora, to better understand the issues that have impacted the nation, as most certainly directly impacted yourself. I want to express again appreciation for your conviction, your determination, your compassion in the face of such cruelty. Okay, I want to express that appreciation to you, but I also want to extend through you to your husband a true appreciation for his total commitment to Biafra. Praise be.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. In
Thank you
unity
very
and
much.
strength. In unity and strength.
Absolutely, in unity and strength. Thank you.
It's the Motivator here. I hope you enjoyed that fantastic podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, or at the very least, give us a like. And don't forget the next video on screen. Click through and enjoy.